time passes over, more cheerful and gay, since we've learned a new act to drive sorrows away. Sorrows away, sorrows away, sorrows away.
As far as I'm concerned, the coppers are the real thing. They actually represent what the word tradition means. And there's the history that you read about in books, which is the history written by the winners. And then there's the history you don't read about in books, which is the history of those who lost the battle, but maybe not the war. And that history is to be found encapsulated in your songs, your stories, your dances, and everything that you made out of thin air.
Because they're not in the mainstream, they're there to be discovered by people. You've got to go find them. You know, my career as a songwriter will doubtless end when I die. My son, he might be interested in going out and singing the songs, but it won't be like the Copper family. That's a different tradition. They picked up on their own local tradition and became the local, you know, storytellers, the local focus in the pub at a time when people didn't have EastEnders, they didn't have Radio 1, they didn't have MTV.
I think there must be some sort of inherited folk memory that we do get born with, that is still in us, you know, along with genes, hair colouring, eye colouring. Why not memory of the culture as well? Sverfall Williams, when he first heard a folk song, said that he felt an instant sense of recognition, as if it was something he'd known all his life. One feels most at home listening to the Coppers. It's when I feel at my happiest, really, listening to them. It's home.
Home for the Copper family is near the seaside village of Rottingdean, at the foot of the Sussex Downs. The Coppers are a close family and usually meet up once a week for a chat and a beer or two.
It's so difficult.
There's the head of the family, Bob, his son John, his daughter Jill and her husband John Dudley. And today, Bob's grandchildren have brought for the first time a great-grandchild. It could be any family, but the difference for the Coppers is in the songs. These days, few families sing together, and even fewer have a precious legacy of 50 or so ancient songs and ballads passed down through the generations. They'll sing a few this evening, but tonight, all eyes are on Bob's great-granddaughter Ruby. It's her first time.
Here's a you, sweet, lovely Nancy, 10,000 times a you. I'm a-going around the ocean, love, to seek for...
Abandon ship! Abandon ship! It's all gone wrong. What the hell was that then? Oh my God, what are you doing? I was asleep. Right, sorry, but... Where the hell have you brought me now? There's a dew. 1, 2.
Here's a you, sweet, lovely Nancy, 10,000 times a you. I'm a-going around the ocean, love, to seek for something new. Come change your ring with me, dear girl. Come change your ring with me. For it might be a token of true love while I am on the sea. When I am far upon the sea, foreign land. The secrets of your heart, dear girl.
This won't be the last time that Ruby hears Adieu, Sweet Lovely Nancy, but that she's hearing it at all is something of a miracle. The Coppers have an unbroken tradition of singing for over 200 years, and its survival today has as much to do with Bob's long life as singer, song collector and writer as it has a chance meeting over 100 years ago.
In the village of Rottingdean, the Copper family were renowned or celebrated for their singing. In 1899, a lady came down to Rottingdean, Mrs. Kate Lee, and she was a musician in her own right. And while she was in the village, she heard about the two Mr. Coppers. So she invited them up to the North End house. She didn't invite them into the drawing room, of course, they went in the kitchen. But they sat there at a table, and on the table she plonked a bottle of Scotch whisky, 2 tumblers and a jug of water. And she wouldn't let them go till they finished it. Well, of course, having a family thirst like we've got, they were working their way down this bottle of Scotch. And the more they drank, the more they sang, and every song or drink was the principle. And so the more they sang, the more they drank, and the more they drank, the more they sang.
Kate Lee used the songs she collected to form the basis of the English Folk Song Society, which still exists to this day. The two Mr. Coppers remained unaware of their honorary membership or of the role that their songs would later play in the English folk revival. One of the Mr. Coppers was James, Bob's grandfather and bailiff of the farm in Rottingdean.
We had an idyllic childhood. My grandfather was a great character. We referred to as Old Brasser, with Sussex wit as Brasser, Copper. He started work as a shepherd boy up on the hills at the age of 8, full-time work, looking after the flock, keeping off the growing crops. He was as earthy as a sack of potatoes, he really was. Absolutely amazing, man of the soil. Bit heavy-handed, I remember very well that a pat on the head from him bore a very close resemblance of a clout round the ear. And he had a tremendous bass voice, and he used to rumble up from the depths of his chest, you know. "Come here, boy," he'd say, and sit me on his corduroy knee, and just before I went to bed, he'd sing, "I'll give you a song before you go to bed, boy." And his idea of a lullaby was something like Admiral Benbow.
Where are we going next then, Gramps?
I don't really know. What does the master of ceremony say?
Don't take it out on the tuning fork.
A 1, a 2.
As I walked out one midsummer's morning, for to view the fields and to take the air, down by the banks of the sweet primy roses, there I beheld a most lovely fair. 3 long steps I stepped up to her, not knowing her as she passed me by.
Brasser wrote down the words to some 28 of the songs back in 1922. Bob's own father, Jim, added the rest in 1936, and to this day the family sing them in the same way.
I remember Dad singing the songs, the old songs, as he was snobbing our boots. Snobbing was mending boots. As he sat there in the evening hammering away on the last, he'd sing to the rhythm of his hammer very often. And I remember I used to sit by his side watching him and learning the songs subconsciously, really. They just went into the marrow of your bones in a way, you know. Just you didn't learn them consciously, you just absorbed them. Some were sea songs, some were love songs, some was just about the seasons of the year and the different jobs that cropped up. the ploughing, the sowing, the reaping, the mowing.
I'll go down in some lonesome valley where no man on earth shall ever me find, where the pretty little small...
From time to time, Bob, now in his 89th year, takes a walk with his daughter Jill up to the old windmill overlooking the village. The family have lived here for at least 4 centuries.
There's very few old villages left, and I've seen them all off. Well, not all of them, but and that's not a boast. I'm just a statement, a way of thanks. But 3,000 acres were farmed of that, all that down and all up round there, as far as you can see, and over the brow. That's East Hill over there, and the village was contained in the valley, right down in the valley. All that new development is creeping up over the hill. That's all new stuff. In the old days, they had the arable land in the valleys. On the top was turf, and kept down, nipped down close with sheep, which I'm glad to see the sheep around now again, because they keep the grass down like a lawnmower. So.
Does a song come to mind when you survey this, Bob?
Wow. 'Twas of 2 young brethren born. 'Twas of 2 young brethren born. One he was a shepherd and a tender of sheep, the other a planter of corn. That always comes to mind, really, because I remember seeing my dad and Uncle John, who was a shepherd, 2 brothers, and I've seen them sing that song so many times. And I used to think it used to be written as a kid. I thought it was them, because Uncle John was a shepherd. One, he was a shepherd and a tender of sheep. The other, a planter of corn. And that was Dad. He was then bailiff, but he planted corn. He did all the other farm jobs as well. But I thought it was about those 2 that the song referred. But of course, it was 2 much more famous than that. Because it was Cain and Abel, really. And that's where the song was taken from the Bible, inspired. This is Copper's Corner.
It's got mixed up with others as well, Cowleys.
Lots of the names that aren't Copper, they're the Copper girls and the families into which they married.
They married into other families, yeah.
The whole village pretty well intermarried, which counts for the congenital idiocy.
Carries on even to this day.
Yeah, Mum and Dad and Joan, my wife, are commemorated on a tablet in the wall up here, and there's a space for me at the bottom of it, but I'm in no hurry for that. That can wait.
Coiffure, it's a go faster hairstyle. It's an aerodynamic.
Dad had worked with teams of bullocks for ploughing and rolling and that sort of thing, as well as horses, and they still ploughed with a single furrow Sussex plough, and they still ploughed an acre a day, the same as the Saxons had, on the same fields. And to do an acre a day, you had to walk 11 miles behind that plough, with 1 foot down in the furrow and 1 up on the unploughed land. Walking, they always reckoned you could tell a ploughman, because he walked like that naturally down one side, you know. He got so used to holding the plough. And, yeah, so things hadn't changed, you see, when I was a boy, from 100 years before or even before that. And to hear these old men talking about the old days on the farm used to fascinate me. I became aware I was seeing the very last chapter in a very, very long story. I remember going out one day with Dad up to Lustrel's bushes, been out rabbiting with the ferrets and the nets. And it was my job to carry the rabbits on a rod over my shoulder, and looking down the valley, which until then had been open green. There were one or two bungalows dotted about. It just started. Nothing like it. It's now solid building. But Dad didn't like it. He said, I don't know, look at it, boy. He said, houses, houses, houses. Do you know, that makes me prostrate with dismal. Come on, let's go down and have a drink, he said. And off we trudged down the Black Horse, had a pint.
It is of good ale to you I'll sing, and to good ale I'll always cling. I like my mug filled to the brim, and I'll drink all you like to bring. Oh, good ale, thou art my darling, thou art my joy, both night and morning.
It's such a different atmosphere. I must say it was a working village, farm working village. And there was horse droppings all down the high street and stuff like that. And the greens weren't mowed and pretty to look at, and flower beds. They were muddy in winter and dust bowls in the summer, you know. It's now a very pretty village, a chocolate box village.
By the 1930s, the farm upon which so many of the previous generations of Bob's family had worked was sold for housing. The age-old way of life of the village died quickly, and the songs were dying too. In came the wireless, new music from America, and even Bob wasn't immune from the changes.
Being a young chap, I went for it, hook, line and sinker, you know. The Mills brothers, the Boswell sisters, and Bing Crosby. And I remember in 1936 I first heard the blues, and I came across this black label Brunswick, which I've still got now. I've got nothing to play it on. It's worn out anyway. But it was Sleepy John Eastie's, and he was singing Married Woman Blues on one side and Drop Down Mama on the other. And I wound up my portable Columbia gramophone, put a new needle in and put it on, not knowing what to expect at all. And it started. And the prickles came up on my back, and I thought, what sort of music is this? I'd never heard anything like it. And it went right into me. It's been there, right there ever since.
Drop down, baby, let your daddy be.
If we went out with our contemporaries when we were 16, 17, all the others would want Ron and I to lead them in the singing, but they didn't want our old songs. We'd start with Spencer the Rover or Cloddy Banks, and they didn't want to hear that. Say, no, we don't want that damned old row. Let's have Coming Round the Mountain When She Comes, or something like that, you know. It was fading and fading and going away.
These words were composed by Spencer the Rover, who travelled Great Britain and most parts of Wales.
People were looking for change. You know, people coming back from the First World War came back to what they thought was a land fit for heroes. And of course, it wasn't. By the time the Second World War ended, people really wanted change, which is why they voted Churchill out, you know. Absolutely amazing that they did after the success of the war, the victory, that is. I can't help but think that a lot of the music was discarded with them.
At the foot of yonder mountain, there runs a clear fountain, with bread and cold water he himself did refresh.
But the Coppersongs weren't lost. In 1950, the family were discovered again, this time by the BBC, and a live broadcast of Bob and his father outside a pub in Jevington, Sussex, soon led to the Coppers singing at the Royal Albert Hall. Aware too that the old country songs were vanishing fast, the BBC sent Bob out to collect them.
It coincided with the introduction of the midget portable recorder. They were portable if you were strong enough, a very big, heavy thing. I met some marvellous old characters, absolutely wonderful. They were well up in their 70s, some of them over 80, and they remembered the old songs and the way they used to be sung. And they usually used to say, you're a bit too late, you know. You should have been around these parts about 10, 12 years ago. We had some capital fine singers that time of day, you know. Of course, that was in the days before music was invented, they used to say.
I'm afraid, says the lady, we both shall be slain. My fear is not at all, said the jolly dragoon. So the dragoon drawed his sword, cut flesh and made the bones to rattle. And the lady held his horse, was the dragoon fought the battle.
He was one of the people who carried these songs. He knew these songs, and he went out and he found people. He's a country boy. He went and talked to country boys, and they immediately connected with him because he's who he is and because he's such fun and he's an enthusiast.
There's Bob, you know, he knows all the history of the whole of his area of Sussex. He knows about when farm implements came in, when they died out, and he has the songs that go with that history.
He got some spectacular recordings when he took it on himself to do some of that work. Fabulous stuff.
Bob collected throughout Sussex and Hampshire, and he later found others, like singer Bob Lewis, who were interested in preserving the old songs.
This to me is really what all this was about, because if you had songs that were handed on orally, you know, were fortunate enough to know the person who sang the song, and you learnt the song from them. Totally different business from learning a song off a record or off a book, out of a book or something like that. I mean, I think particularly I was very influenced by old George, you know, old George Belton, you know, because I spent a lot of time in each other's company, and
Can you think of one of his songs? Can you think of one of his songs?
Oh yeah, well, his name is Jim, the carter lad, a jolly cock am I always am contented, be the weather wet or dry. I snap my fingers at the snow and whistle at the rain. I brave the storm for many a day and can do it again. Crack, crack goes my whip, I whistle and I sing. I sit upon my wagon, I'm as happy as a king. My horse is always willing and I am never sad. There's none can lead a jollier life than Jim the carter lad. You know, sort of. And I can see George and that, you know, when you sing it.
Old Ned Adams, I met at Old Town.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes.
The Bold Princess Royal.
Oh, I tell you what, it's stunning.
See, he gave it attitude, and the slurs and things he put into it, and it made it a different song entirely, you know.
Yeah, but you've done it justice, because when I've heard you sing that, you know, sort of my old ear stand on end.
I don't often sing it this time of the morning, but he went something like this. Went something like this. On the 14th of February, we sailed from the land on the Bold Princess Royal, bound for Newfoundland. We had 40 bright seamen, our ship's company, so bold lies from the eastern to the western bore we.
We had not been a-sailing scarce days 2 or 3 when a man from our masthead strange sails did he see. He came bearing down on us for to see what we were, and under his mizzen black colours he wore.
I remember being amazed by it, see a man with hobnail boots and corduroys and a clay pipe, probably could neither read nor write, but he'd clear his throat and spit in the direction of the spittoon. Pretty well often miss it, but and then sing a song like Charming Molly, fair and brisk and gay, like nightingales in May. All round her eyelids sweet cupids play, and then he'd spit again in the direction of the spitting.
That's right.
Now, to think that in that rugged little character there was preserved that thought of sweetness and beauty and love, it's amazing. It was the tender inside to that very rough exterior, and it amazed me. These songs meant so much to them, you see, because in their songs they found their music, their poetry, their drama, their comedy. They had very little approach to the arts as we know them, only through these songs.
It was of an honest labourer, as I've heard people say. He goes out in the morning and he works hard all the day. And he's got 7 children and most of them are small. He has nothing but hard labour to maintain them all.
Students of folk music have often said to me, how is it there are no baldy songs? They're all very puritanical. Dad said, that was my old mum. He said she wouldn't allow Dad, that was Brasser, to sing any baldy or anything the slightest bit suggestive. She wouldn't allow him to sing that in the cottage. She said, if you want to sing those sort of songs, you get in the pub and sing them.
We're down in the village, or so I hear tell. There lived a young lass, and her name it were Nell. She were fair, white and handsome, and only 16. Her longed for a ride on the thrashing machine. I had her, I had her, I had her, I had her by night and I had her by day. I had her, I had her, I had her, I up and I showed her the old-fashioned way. Yeah.
My grandmother wouldn't have allowed that one.
Yeah.
But it's very, very good and gratifying from my point of view that young people like yourself and my kids have picked up the interest and the songs and sing them so well, and are going to keep the tradition alive.
Come all you honest labouring men that work hard all the day, and join with me at the barley mow to...
Throughout the 1950s and 60s, Bob ran the village club in Peacehaven, where he brought up his daughter Jill and son John. By this time, the Coppers were seen as a cornerstone of the English folk revival scene, and Bob's books on old Sussex life were receiving national attention.
Bob and Ron Copper are well-known folk singers, and I asked them how long they'd lived here.
A long time, John. I should think we could be classed as locals.
Like their father had before them, Jill and John soaked up the songs.
Well, you know, I was lucky. Bob was very conscientious about getting the songs down to me, but he never forced them. And Jill and I were always exposed to the songs in that when Dad was working around the house, he used to hum or sing the songs, and it got us interested.
He was determined they wouldn't be lost, and he used to sing them, deliberately sing them around the house when we were kids, my brother and I, so that it would sort of go into our being, you know, into our very sort of bones, you know, like the sort of osmosis process, you know.
Very often when I sing them with the family, it reminds me of one of the older generation, you know, so this might be Ron Copper's song, that was Bob's cousin. You know, this one reminds me of Grandad, or this one reminds me of Great Uncle John. And you visualise them singing it when you're singing it. You can't help it. It brings the songs to life through the medium that you heard years ago. So but the words of the songs, well, they're touching because they're authentic. But I don't soak the words up, you know, like a musicologist might. Some places we go, especially in America, they know so much about the lyrics, you know, they tie up in knots with it. And they'll come up and say, well, you sung has instead of is on line 5 of verse 4. And you think to yourself, well, who gives a monkeys about that then? No, I don't. We just basically go and have fun. And my sister often says, well, you know, they've come to see the Coppers all sit around and get drunk together again. Bless them, they've even paid to come in. But we're only doing it for fun, you know. We swap stories and you know, it's evocative. This song used to be sung, although it's a timeless, very old fable about the two babes that got lost in the wood. It always used to be sung on Christmas night in our family. And old Brass the Copper used to keep up the tradition, used to make sure everyone at the gathering had a plate full of rabbit pie, and then he'd strike up sound with this song. They used to sing it very slowly, because some people would have a mouthful of rabbit pie in between the lines. They used to alternate the lines, you see. You'll have to imagine the rabbit pie, but this is how the song sounded. 1, 2.
Oh, don't you remember a long time ago, those two little babies, their names I don't know, they strayed away one bright summer's day, those two little babies got lost on their way. Pretty babes in the wood, pretty babes in the wood. Oh, don't you remember those babes in the wood? Now the day being gone, and the night.
We don't sing all the time. We live a modern life. We've got businesses to run. John and Jill run their business. I run this place. And, you know, days are very busy. And you can't sing, you don't sing the songs every day. Of course you don't. But when you've got a gig coming up in a week or so's time, it concentrates your mind enough so that you get together, because you get together and have a few jars anyway, catch up on the family gossip like we do once a week anyway, and then have a few songs just for the pleasure of it.
At the family rehearsal this week, there's great news. Bob's long and varied career has been celebrated by the award of an MBE in the New Year's Honours List.
So now we've all got to go shopping and buy some new outfits and big hats.
Well, it's not every day, is it? You get to
It certainly isn't.
and have a song as well, eh?
It's now or never for me too. You've got plenty of time, yeah?
Well, I'm not holding my breath just yet.
Now I'll go in tails and top if you and John do.
I think smocks. I think smocks is the way to go.
Well, I'm not going to be the only one to dress up in tails. Make a job of it.
Go and visit Mr. Moss.
Mr. Moss. If they got one big enough for me.
They got an expandable one. Can I have one of the elastic brim?
You look like Isambard Kingdom Brunel.
Big cigar.
You didn't see it in the folk roots. There's a lovely picture of you holding up a beer mug. It says, "Arise, Sir Bob."
Yes.
Congratulations to Bob Copper on getting the OBE in the New Year's Honours List. At last he's been recognised by the Great White Queen and the establishment. But, and it adds as an aside, it was very flattering, it says, well, we'd like to tell you that as far as we're concerned, the Copper family are the nearest thing round here to royalty anyway. And I thought to myself, what, in the sense that they've got a wonderful head of household and a dysfunctional rabble round
I feel we could fill their boots nicely.
What should we have a warm up on then? Something we know really well.
Got the Queen Grove, good idea. One May.
One May morning I chose for to roam and stroll through the fields by the side of the grove. It was there I did hear the harmless birds sing, and you never heard so sweet. You never heard so sweet. You never heard so sweet as the birds in the spring.
People have tried to argue and even suspected me that I invented the whole thing, that it was a figment of my imagination, that they said that that working men never sang about the joys of the countryside, the skylarks and the flowers. They did, they blooming well did, because I was there and heard them.
Well, I think there's a difference in the Copper family repertoire because they're predominantly singing agricultural songs. Obviously, they're not going to be as perhaps class conscious as sort of the mining songs that Bert Lloyd collected. You know, you have to remember the labour movement didn't spring from agricultural labourers. It actually sprung from the industrial workers. So they're kind of like storytellers, the Copper family. I see them as you know, real part of the genuine original oral tradition, rather than the storytellers that I am, where I'm picking stuff up, you know, and Woody Guthrie was taking stuff out of newspapers, and Martin is listening to other people's folk songs and taking those on board, Martin Carthy. With the Coppers, it's their family tradition, and that's what's special about it.
To say that you never heard so sweet, you never heard so sweet, you never heard so sweet as the birds on the spray.
Your voice is a bit...
Yeah.
Right, that's it. That's enough of that then. Well, let's enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the work over. Lovely. We go home now. We have a ceremonial burning of the books.
With all tonight's notes in them. So we can start again next week. Where we
We
left
don't
off.
want to get too good. No, that's what we don't want to do. We don't want to get too good.
People bring out the best stuff, bring out the worst stuff.
The worst of the Copper family.
Every Wednesday, the worst of the Copper family.
Really, with all this taken into consideration, it's a miracle we're so slick on stage, isn't it?
Fantastic.
I think it's the 25th.
Let's have a look.
No, not ladies.
Lieutenant Colonel Robert Cartwright.
I am commanded to inform you that an investiture will be held at Buckingham Palace on Thursday the 20th of March 2004, at which your attendance is requested. You are asked to return this letter to me within 7 days, or you will go to the Tower of London.
We don't practice as such, it's the wrong word. If love and commitment are the only things necessary, we are absolutely certain that the songs will go on. Somebody came up and spoke to John Copper, my son, and said, not being funny, well, they were, could we book the family, the kids, we don't want the old ones. So it was just lovely and absolutely lovely. I think it's a great compliment to them. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Bob's annual birthday celebration at Lewes Folk Club has become something of an institution, with fans from far and wide coming to see the Coppers and to listen to the songs. This time, it's the younger generation that will open the proceedings.
Right now, introductions are suitable here. We've got 5 of the next generation with us tonight. We have Sean here, and that's Jill's middle son, youngest son. I have to keep them on their toes, you know, otherwise they forget. And Andy here, who is the middle son, and Tom, who's my youngest, and Lucy, who's my middle daughter, and Ben, who is my eldest. Here they are.
Come, old jolly ploughman, and help me to sing. I will sing in the praise of you all. If a man he don't labour, how can he get bread? I will sing and...
The strength of them is the timelessness, because there's this idea that tradition is a kind of a henge, you know, that never really changes. Bits drop off occasionally, but nothing really happens.
As a family, they themselves have made the decision to keep their songs the way they are.
Absolutely. But they don't keep them the way they are. They move them around. They move them around the whole time. It never stops. And they've arrived at a different compromise. Bob and Ron had a particular compromise between the two of them that worked absolutely triumphantly well. What's happened to the Coppers now is that they now get together with the people they have now, and they've forged something different. It's very exciting. It means that tradition is an exciting thing, and like I said before, it's not a henge.
It moves.
It moves.
And have gathered up every year with a drop of good beer, boys, and our hearts full of cheer. We will wish them another good year.
I don't think any of us think about what's going to happen to the songs later on.
No.
They're just,
We know
they're
it's
just
gonna be
there.
there.
They're
They're gonna be
just
fine.
there, and they
It's
just
just
are. And there's so many of us.
What happens if we all go to all parts different in the world?
Then whenever we have the opportunity to get together, we'll sing the songs, won't we?
Yeah.
If we feel like
Definitely.
it. We'll do as much as we feel like
Definitely.
it. I don't know.
So
I guess some families split up and they
So
move
a lot
around.
more
I think
people
we're lucky
do
to have
that
a
now,
big
yeah.
group. But other than that, I think we're the same. You know?
Yeah,
we are.
absolutely.
You know, I'm a chippy, you're a joiner, you're a painter, you're a
student.
A doctor of psychology.
Maybe in a few years.
But you know, we're all just normal people with normal lives.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's rather unusual to be that close to your family and actually enjoy each other's company.
And to be aware of your ancestors, you know, and other people, and know them all by name, and know something about their characters and all that sort of thing. I think it's
Very
quite a bizarre
unusual.
thing, isn't it?
And provide for the very next year.
As we've grown up learning the songs, we've also grown up learning the family history, and the songs sort of knit into that and help paint vignettes of what was happening in the past. And I guess that's part of what their purpose has always been. The songs have always been used to illustrate a moral or a feeling or a particular moment in history. And for me, certainly, they still carry that purpose on. I feel very much that I feel the same now in my heart that my great-grandfather thought and his great-grandfather felt. And when some of the songs, they talk about working on the fields, and they talk about being tired and hungry at the end of the day, and I can relate to those very much. You know, and there's the songs of love and the songs of the songs about their family and the respect in the family are all things that are still relevant now. So I mean, I'm sure to a lot of people they're dead and they have no relevance in modern life, but for me, if you read between the lines a little bit, there's a lot of continuity. A lot of the songs, a lot of the sentiment certainly still rings true.
Come right me down, ye powers above, the man that first created love. For I've a diamond in my eye, wherein all my joys and comforts lie. Come on then. Wherein all my joys and comforts lie.
In a good 95% of the revival singers' repertoires, you will hear at least one song that came from the Copper family, and not just here. So, in Canada, in America, all over the world, those songs have travelled all over the world. It's history come to life. That is our oral tradition.
I mean, the soundbite version of it isn't it, that people who have no past have no future. Those songs are what give you a future.
It's our history, you know.
It's our history, and you've got to know who. If you want to know who you are, then look there.
I am a brisk and bonny lad, and free from care and strife. And sweetly as the hours pass, I love a country life. At Facum fair I'm often there, midst pleasures to be seen. Though poor I am contented and as happy as a queen.
Pace of life is so different. When we were kids, the psychologist would have had lots of blanks in his appointment book. Nobody didn't have stress or Didn't know what it meant. We'd sit in the evening, on a winter's evening, and it'd be quiet. Mum would be on one side of the fireplace, darning socks or mending shirts. Dad would be on the other side of the house, making rabbit nets. Grandad would be in his favourite chair by the dresser, you know, sit there, and the old clock in the corner was going tick, tock, tick, tock, just quiet. And presently you'd hear the rumble of wheels on the road and the sound of hoofs going by, coming up the road. And it gradually got louder and louder. And tick, tock, tick, tock. Rumble past the front window and then gradually faded into the distance. And presently Mum would say, "There goes old Will Murrell." Tick, tock, tick, tock. About half a minute later, I suppose it would be, Dad would say, "I don't reckon that was old Bill." Tick, tock, tick, tock. Grandad would say, "Too much argufying going on here, come on, we best have a song, I reckon." And then we'd have a song, you know. But it was that peaceful, lovely, which I cherish and retain in my being, very much in my mind. That peace and laid back expression now, it's a good expression, laid back attitude was really lovely.
You are like seamen that to the sea belong. I'll tell you of a fight, my boys, on board the Nottingham.
It was of an Irish captain, his name was Somerville. With courage bold did he control, he played his part so well. Yeah. We used to put long lines out, we had lobster pots, and he used to go out every morning. You go to the furthest one that way, which is the best part of a mile, and then one to take the oars and the other to pull the pots and drift down on the side until you got to Ovendene. Then the one that rowed out would swim back, and the one that swam out would row back. So you do that before breakfast every morning.
Very fit.
As fit as fiddlers. Yeah. The Golden Beach Boy of 1933. Where's he gone? I don't see him anymore. Well, things do change, that's the thing. I think that's why it makes us as a family more determined than ever to keep the songs alive, because it keeps that little flame, little ember just burning still. You don't want to dwell in the past, not by any means.
No, but we've still got a toe in the past, haven't we?
That's
We're still
right.
very much connected to it. You feel as
toe-
though the string is still there. It is something magical
by
that
keeping,
we keep going.
keeping a toe hold on the past, you add another dimension to the present and the future, how things have changed, and also the eternal verities which indeed haven't changed. Love and truth and all the good old standbys are still there.
All set then, Pop?
I think so. This is one of the most interesting gigs we've had, really. We've been all over the place, all over America and that sort of thing, singing the old songs. But this one is a truly exciting family occasion to receive the MBE. Great fun. Whoa.
Hey.
Look at that.
Wow. Wow. So proud of you.
To me, it's a culmination of the whole thing, that something that nearly died, nearly disappeared. We managed to keep going, and it's now resulted in a very amazing award of a member of the British Empire. I'm very proud.
been your life's work, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I feel now we've established the songs. I've got 6 lovely grandchildren who love the songs just as much as ever we did and sing them wonderfully well. And that is echoed in the young listeners all over the country. And it's very gratifying indeed.
Well done, thanks. Well done.
Well, there we are.
So what are you doing now then?
Well, I think we might find a pub.
I don't know if we can bear it.
We've got to wet the baby's head, I think.
Yeah, we've got to have a glass of champagne, haven't we?
I think we like to.
The time passes over, more cheerful and gay, since we've learnt a new act to drive sorrows away. Sorrows away, sorrows away, sorrows away, since we've learnt a new act to drive sorrows away.
All these songs, whether they're today, whether they were 100 years ago or 100 years hence, they all tell of the human condition. They all tell about battles, they tell about love, they tell about death, they tell about life. And as long as people live our lives like that, they'll be relevant. They'll tell our stories. They'll tell humanity's stories.
One thing you can say about the folk music is that, you know, it's survived for centuries. It's not given just a short shelf life, you know, it's there. One wonders how many pop songs will still be remembered in 300 years' time. But I bet you a lot of, for instance, the Coppersongs will still be sung in 300 years' time. Touch wood.
The tradition isn't just in Bob, it's in all of them and the way that they come together. And that's to me what I get when I listen to the Coppers, the authentic voice of ordinary people, rather than something that's been put on in a museum, something that's been put in aspect for me to look at, something that's been dressed up again. I find with the Copper family, the whole family, from its beginnings as we know it in the middle of the 20th century right through to now, as a growing living tradition.
To sing with the people I love most in the whole world is my father, my husband, my brother, my 3 sons, my niece and my 2 nephews. To sing in 2-part harmony with those people is like dying and going to heaven. It's just wonderful.
I'm as happy as those that's got thousands or more. Thousands or more. Thousands or more. Thousands or more.
done, there's no denying. Sun is sinking, light is dying. Rooks from fields are homeward flying. Day draws to its close. Gone the eager dreams of dawning. All the cut and thrust of morning ends with weary limbs and yawning, longing for repose. So much more to do remaining, energy and will are waning. Life sped past, no use complaining, cannot interpose. Time to think of what comes after. Is there music, love and laughter in the life we call hereafter? God Almighty knows.
We're finished.
Finished.
Yeah, finished.
We didn't know we started.
Don't make me laugh. You silly arse. Come on, the sun shining on the sea.
Isn't it?
Blinding,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Absolutely. Like the crown jewels.
Yeah, wonderful. It's a glorious day.